And now, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by TCR Studios on a Thursday afternoon. It is beautiful outside for the first time in, it fucking feels forever. God bless America. We are ready to go. And we're happy to join you with the Voice of Onewheel one more time. Let's do it. Mark, how are you doing, buddy? You feeling good today?
I am feeling great today.
He's ready to rock, my friends.
I am ready to ride tonight.
We've got a whole lot planned for you. Things are happening. I've got a knuckle huck. Have you heard of this? Mark, you don't know what that is.
I do not know what the knuckle huck is.
I will teach you. And then we will ask the two fastest riders in the world, Riley Johnson and Luke Austin, how the heck they go so fast. 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. They do it. We'll tell you how. Straight from their mouths. They'll tell you too. We're excited to get to them. But first, stars of the show. We skipped you somehow last week. How did we do this? Ladies and gentlemen, it's you, the Social Media Lounge. What are we serving in there in the comment section of the YouTube live stream, Mark?
Let's see. Today, I was thinking like a smash burger with like a 32 S1P ground chuck in the middle, a little bit of turn tilt, a little dash of ATR. What we are serving, we're serving a good conversation. Let me see. I will be manning the chat here in YouTube, and so far, I think we've already got Mandy.
Fantastic. Tons of people will be joining. I hope they all remember, and most of everybody watches later on. I know that everybody is basically working right now. It's noon on a Thursday. That is when you can catch us if you want to join us for your lunch break, but Mark will be manning the chat. If you do want to get your voice heard on the show, this is the Voice of Onewheel, and that's you. So feel free to throw us something in the chat. O for positive stuff. No F's in the chat. We do O's here for Onewheels. You can drop a super chat if you want to. We're not really all about that. We're all just here for vibes. Thankful that we can be here. If you do feel so inclined, we are monetized, so if you want to put money in Mark's pocket, that is how we will do that. However, dude, Riley and Luke are coming in here in about 4 minutes. Riley's going to start us off, and Luke has a ramp in his backyard, now front yard, that he's going to jump onto snow. I tell you this because in the intro, Mark, I was saying that it was beautiful outside, but watch this with me, dude. This is exactly what I've been dealing with, and I'm fucking tired of it, man. I am so sick of this type of riding. This is me just riding around in my neighborhood, and this is what I get on my trails these days. And I'm telling you, I went over it, but I was like really mad about it. I was
sketch.
Well, that's not how you ride a one wheel. It's not safe. However, Mark is going to jump like a fucking 12-foot, 15-foot gap. How long is that thing?
Who?
Not
me?
Mark. No. Sorry, Luke. Luke is. Sorry,
me
Luke.
Do this. Yeah, Luke has a really exciting jump to show off.
So we'll do that sort of at the end. But before we even get to that, what is the knuckle huck? Because it's so weird that Luke has this snow jump. All right, friends, as I was starting off last show, I was telling you that I want to fly. And the one wheel is the only real chance that I ever get to do that. Because, in my dreams, I'm at my happiest for some reason when I'm getting like this zero gravity feeling, and I usually get it while I'm snowboarding in my dreams. I've one-wheeled in my dreams before, but I'm telling you, I get this like zero gravity feeling. And I just found out that there is an X Games competition showing what I've been doing in my dreams. It's called Knuckle Huck, and I'd like to show it to you. Watch what these people do. They basically go over the knuckle of a big jump. Okay, so you'll see it with me. I'm keeping it muted.
Yeah.
Watch this dude fly. Mark, you've never seen this, right?
No.
Dude, the zero gravity of this, and I've been saying, as soon as I saw this, I was like, how do we do this on a one wheel? Go figure, Luke does this. So here we go, watch this. Skipping the jump, and then just all zero gravity.
Oh, yeah.
How sick is that?
Right, so you're just like popping off at the right time of the crest to get the longest air and like infinite landings.
Exactly. The timing is such that you are allowed to just hang and do these wild tricks forever.
Yeah.
Knuckle huck.
Ooh.
Oh my God. So here, I'll give you this guy I think won. I can't remember. This is fucking wild. Watch this dude. So cool. Haldor Helgeson.
Holy lineup.
What are we doing? That's insane.
Oh my god.
It's so fucking cool, dude. Again, that guy is Haldor Helgeson.
Jeez.
Just unreal. So
I mean, flying.
I'm just flying. Now, I wanted to find out how can we do that on a one wheel. Like, you need bindings. One of the guys went down and did this with only one binding in, dude, and then stuck the landing.
Wow.
So if you want to check that out, Knuckle Huck was the name of the competition, and apparently they've been doing this forever. But coming up at the end of the show, after we talk to Riley, I'm going to show you a way that I did this in my fucking living room.
What?
Dude,
how? Like, what do you mean?
I found a way to do it. So I'll tell you all of that coming up. But Riley's coming on here in just a minute. We're excited to get him in here. In fact, is he here?
No, we need Riley to.
Let me get him the chat.
link.
Let me get Riley the chat. That's not it. While we're doing that, what do you have for your social media loungers? Why don't you ask them the first question of the day, which you're going to have to come up with on the spot. I'm sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to get him the link while we do this.
No, we talked about it in the last show, but fastest fall on a one wheel you've ever had. Let's talk about that in the chat. Tell us your roughest fall.
Your roughest fall?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Is that bad?
No,
should
I
we
love
keep
it. Because actually we had some of that in last show, just like you said, and some people were starting to comment on it.
It was something that we talked about. I don't think we got to address anything from the chat. So if the chat wants to.
Throw it in. Okay, very good. Riley's coming in hot. Giddy up. All right, so things are happening. Man, I saw that, dude, and I was just so pumped because I'm going to find out a way to do that on a one wheel. And somehow, weirdly enough, our guest on today's show, one of them does that. Now, Riley we've said that one of them is the fastest on paper and one of them is the fastest racer. We say that because technically, Luke Austin, if we say he's the one on paper, because he won the race, or I had this all written down. He won the ORL, beating out Austin Silva. Just eked him out last year. He's the winner of 2025. So on paper, gotta say he's the fastest. Or I guess as a racer, he's the fastest. But on paper, Riley, we showed him last week, 50 miles an hour. That's undeniable. On paper.
Insanely fast.
Fastest rider? I don't know. We'll have to duke it out here today on the show. So that's the plan. Dude, what's the fastest that you've gone comfortably?
Me?
Yeah.
I have hit 31.
31 on a one wheel?
Yeah.
On a Vesk or a GTS?
It was a Vesk.
Okay.
It was an early GT Vesk. It was my friend Christopher Melton, or as we call him, Melty. He made a U-Box build that was kind of a GT Vesk conversion, and he blew up the controller like twice. But during that golden period where it was working right, it was really effortless to hit 31 on it.
Did you get any kind of wobbles?
Maybe, not on that board, not in that parking lot. It was a good setup. I mean, yeah, wobbles could be very real thing, especially with the wrong tire at those speeds and the wrong PSI for the wrong tire.
I got that from Speed Wobbles. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I got a nice little solid smashy of a wrist. When I broke my wrist because of Speed Wobbles on an EUC, I went and they took me to the ER, and when they did the x-rays, the techs were like, hey, well, maybe it's not so bad and we won't need to do surgery. And then they laughed.
Oh no.
They laughed from behind the thing. I watched them through the glass laugh. And then they came out and laughed again in front of me and said, buddy, what did you do? And I said, it was an electric unicycle. I was in so much pain. And they're like, oh my God, it's all smashed to hell, man. It's in bits and pieces.
Oh, that's no good.
Cool.
By the way, on the social media lounge, one woman, one wheel has said probably the crash that she had, this would be her worst crash, is probably the one at the first Let It Ride where they launched and became a meme. Apparently, they had a Red Bull in hand, and that everybody thought was photoshopped, and
Can we get that picture? Mandy, would you mind throwing
Yeah.
that picture in, texting that to Luke or to me in the Facebook somewhere? I need that picture. How do we get that picture on the air? She's like, no.
All right. Soon we're coming up with a repository for guest
Well,
media.
why don't you tell everybody about that while we're at it?
Yeah. I'm, gonna set up a Dropbox or something like that. That way we can have a link that we drop in chat if we want to, or just something we send out to every guest before the show that just gives them a rundown of how things are going to work and what we're going to talk about and where to drop us media so we can make the show more interactive and fun. Yeah.
Well, this thing is telling me that it won't let him in without a stupid Zoom passcode. Can you get him in? Can you send? I'll send him an invite link. Let's do it that way. Let's just do this.
Does the OG invite link? Okay. Pardon.
Poor Riley. He's like, dude, let me in this fucking show. I'm trying to get in, man. We want to talk to him too, dude. And while we're getting in this, I guess this is a good time to let everybody know that the weekly one-wheel challenges, that's coming back, folks. I don't know if you knew about that. Have you seen that page on Facebook, Mr. Mark?
The weekly one-wheel challenges? I know nothing about this.
Yeah, I started this back in the day. And, God, when was it? 2020 was the last time I think I posted on here. And I used to post weekly challenges where it was like, oh, it's just become like a shilling page. Okay, well, I'll take it back over. But basically, I would just host weekly challenges where I would, take you out. In fact, Mandy and I did one together where we went out on a basketball court and I mapped out what exactly to do, what lines to follow, and to time yourself. And then throw your video up, and then winners would get shouted out on the show, maybe a little prize or something. So if you want to go ahead and join that channel, that group over on Facebook, Weekly One Wheel Challenges, I'm going to start putting out challenges starting this week because I think that's just a fun thing to do, and it built a lot of community. It was a lot of fun when we were doing it. Why not do it again? So head on over, join that group, Weekly One Wheel Challenges, and I will start posting something in there. You'll have a challenge for yourselves and for everybody this week. All right, Riley's here. Let's do it. We got him?
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
There he is. Fuck yeah. What's up, Riley? How we doing, homie?
Not too much. Thank you guys for having me on. It's an honor. I really appreciate it.
Well, absolutely. Now, there's a battle that's been going on. Some say that we've got two riders today, you and Luke. One of them's the fastest on paper. One of them's the fastest racer. We're calling you the fastest on paper, sir. Would you like to defend yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've certainly got the record to prove it and the videos, so we're pretty happy with that, and we'll see. Maybe it'll actually get pushed up a little bit more yet.
You hit 50 miles an hour, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Buddy, that's insane. How does Mark and I are going to ask you about a bunch of stuff, but really, Mark, why don't we just go back and forth on questions, me and then you. So I'll start it off. What's the one piece of safety gear that you can't ride without other than a helmet if you're going to go at that speed? Something that really makes you feel at comfort.
I would have to say the motorcycle suit. We specifically went out and kind of bought some slide gear that was intended for sliding across the pavement. Initially, I was willing to take the fall just to see where exactly that number ended up being. Fortunately, we didn't actually have to utilize it this time, but that certainly pushed the confidence through the roof.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. You're dressing for the slide. Yep. I would ask, so did you build this board?
Yeah. Yep. I'm kind of the team mechanic for our Fast Boys crew. So pretty much all of the boards start here in the garage and they work out from there. But yep, this was a home built one.
Awesome. If you have a safety suit, are you saying the ones where, like, if you fall over, it blows up? Do we have that technology? Is that out yet? Are we talking about this?
I think it's there, but I didn't go quite to that degree. Mainly, I just counted on if I hit the ground, I wanted at least a little more surface between me and the pavement. And, we'll see if that actually has to get used at some point in the future.
Interesting.
So let me see. Does that encompass, does that have like wrist guards and stuff like that built on, or is that kind of you're adding those parts?
So for the most part, I wear my typical racing gear, head to toe, helmet, elbows, knee pads, wrist guards, the works. And then it's a jacket that goes over that has additional padding built into the elbows, knees, hips, things like that. So kind of just a secondary layer, if you will, to cover the gaps that my other gear doesn't cover.
So what about wobbles? Because I know a lot of people are probably asking, you know, a lot of new riders get the speed wobbles. I got speed wobbles on an EUC and smashed the hell out of my wrist. What would you say the best way to negate them once they happen? How do you cancel them out?
To be honest, I'm not all that familiar with the speed wobble.
I don't even get them, bro.
It just, maybe it's a tire choice. We also run really lowered boards, so that really lowers your center of gravity, kind of helps eliminate some of that. As far as getting out of a speed wobble situation, the best I could say is prepare for the fall and make an educated decision on when to bail.
Mark, have you gotten the wobble?
I have gotten the wobble when like borrowing boards or on my first board. I got a little bit of it until I felt like I got my PSI dialed right.
That is usually what happens. I've found that wobbles typically happen. Guys, if you're wondering where they come from, speed wobbles happen where all of a sudden the wheel gets out of phase and it just starts wobbling with itself. And it's really scary because it's one of these things that starts getting progressively worse. It's not so bad at first, and then holy shit, this thing's going to fucking eject me if you don't cancel it out. And it usually happens because your smaller muscles in your legs that aren't used to riding that specific piece of equipment, they're not ready yet. So a lot of people go faster than their muscles are ready for. They're small, fine twitch muscles. And then all of a sudden the wobbles come because they're not able to stabilize in a like a self-correcting way. So if you're worried about that, just take it slow. Take it so slow from the beginning, almost like boringly slow, until you build up those muscles and just slowly build up. And you'll be like Riley, where you're going 45, 50 miles an hour, and you're like, wobbles?
Yeah.
What are you talking
The
about?
other thing I'd recommend for wobbles too is just getting lower. Like a lot of people just avoid bending their knees deeply on a one wheel, but like if you do go bend all the way down to the ground, like you cancel them.
That's how you cancel them.
Stable.
That's absolutely how you cancel them. You lower your center of gravity, try to get as low as you can, backwards as you can. But these don't happen to him. So what are we talking about?
And I won't say there wasn't some slight bobbles in there. I've got some little chicken legs. So there are some instances where I'll feel maybe a little shimmy, but for the most part, you keep the weight on the front and it kind of, balances things out and keeps on trucking.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So let me ask you this. I mean, this factors into it too. Give me your, let me ask you what your tire you're rocking for this, and then like PSI versus your body weight and stuff.
For this, I used a Burris 11.5 by 7 slick. It's, from what I know, their newest big tire, if you will. Same as the old one, but a slick version. So we opted for that for mainly the height increase over a standard 6-inch, as well as just the smooth riding and rollability of the slick. I think I was right around 25 PSI, somewhere in there, a lot higher than I normally run. Yeah. And I'm 130 pounds. So light guy, high PSI. And I think there was a couple, bobbles or a little bit of, we hit cracks and stuff going 40 miles an hour. So there's an expectation that things might get a little wobbly, and they, did within reason, but it was super easy to just dial it back.
So you've done a lot of races in the past. I know last year. What have you raced already this year, and what are the races that you're most looking forward to coming up in the 2025 year?
For this year, I think I'm mainly going to focus on the Dirt Surfers series. The Dirt Surfers Enduro has kind of always been my preference in race style or format, if you will. And with that being said, there's a lot of different events out there now, and it takes a lot of time and dedication to be competitive at this top level, as well as, making it to all of these events. So, knowing that those are kind of the ones that embody my preferred choice, I think those are where you'll be able to find me this year.
Yeah, what is your practice schedule like? Like, do you have to keep your legs? You said you got those chicken legs. So do you ride every day? Do you feel it if you take a day off?
To be honest, my riding has changed significantly over the years. 2 years ago, we were racing and riding on underground circuits every single day after work, every weekend, all weekend. As time went on, it did become a bit of a chore. It takes a lot out of you to stay on top of it. I had some other endeavors. So long story short, my riding schedule now is basically weekend warrior status. I work through the week, I work on boards, and then once the weekend rolls around, the gang gets together and we ride. So At this point, I'm much more of a we'll show up and throw down and give it everything we have versus train for the big deal. But I don't know, I'm being put on a bit of a pedestal here, so that might have to change a little bit and put a little more effort towards it.
Yeah. It's gonna be a wild season, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then to see, you know, to see the Vesk boards and all these single series batteries that more and more people are dropping out. I mean,
Well, are they allowed in those? Are those allowed?
Yeah.
It's right. It's not allowed in Race for the Rail.
Right.
But it's allowed in, these races are
wait a minute
essentially saying treating everybody as open class. Since they're an enduro, they can subdivide everybody for certain podiums, but other than that, it's
So then, Riley, what do you do? Like, if somebody's watching and they're like, I want to be you, bro. Like, how do they train for, like, how do you pick your right board? You basically, it's almost like iRacing. If anybody knows that racing simulator, it's almost like what flight do you want to drive? Like, do you want to be doing like this kind of riding or this kind of riding? Do you have 7 boards that you've mastered, or do you just stick to one type? Like, what do you do?
I usually have 2 to 3 boards. For the most part, they're both big tire configurations. One of them is a 12x8 Burris, which is a very big tire, bigger platform. That's more of the hammer, if you will. And then we've got a slightly smaller one that's a little more nimble, fine-tuned. That I consider more of the scalpel, if you will. Just kind of have different boards to cover different use cases. But for the most part, I'm fully big tire. We ride mainly trails, the occasional group ride with the buddies, but the gnarly off-road is what we go for. So both of them are pretty well geared for anything on the dirt and the chunk.
That's crazy. Mark, how many boards do you have, dude?
I mean, I have like four boards.
How do you guys afford this? This is insane.
Only one of them works. So,
well, Mark, why don't you? We'll get Riley out of here in a few, but you've got that helmet over your shoulder. Give us the 30-second story of how that saved your life, and then Riley, maybe you tell us what you use as a helmet.
Yeah, so I bought a Fox Pro Frame RS on my way out to Oregon last year. 2 years ago, 2023 season, I did a number of ORL races and cruised out to Northwest Electric Fest. So on my way out there, I thought, well, this is the time that I actually pick up a full face helmet. Shortly after is when I went down at 26, 27 at Northwest Electric Fest. I was training with Eddie Metz and let's see, I was training with Chris Ferret, and then we had Nick Meeker. It was a really fast group, and went around for a lap, just really putting it to the new beadlock billet hub that I just put on my GT, which was the fastest board available at the time for an ORL race. Yeah, ate it uphill into gravel and just chunked into my helmet pretty good. It absorbed it really well. You really can't see it, but I would have taken absolutely a face slammer if it weren't for this thing, for the way my head went down. It's got MIPS. It's super lightweight. It's also got click adjust. Click.
Love that. Need that.
Super comfortable. Really easy to just get out of when you're done with trail racing and you're so hot. Love this helmet.
That's awesome.
Highly recommend.
So what do you use then, Riley?
So my preference right now is the IXS full face trigger. One of the lightest on the market, best breathability from what I've seen. Just super well-rounded. The hot days out here in Colorado, you definitely notice, a less ventilated helmet. So that's a big pro for me there. With that being said, I have started to find the limits of this, I think, with the speeds we're now reaching. So it's kind of my go-to for right now, but I have been searching for something a little more durable just to, really have some redundancy there to make sure my brain's good.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. Are you, yeah, I just wonder, are you going to get into the neck thing and then we're gonna have to toss.
I technically have one. I actually have spinal stenosis, so I've got some neck injuries from later or earlier in life that I need to be, conscious of. I wear it sometimes I don't. There are, conceptions that they can potentially cause fractured collarbones and things like that.
Gotcha.
With that being said, I, after 5 years of one wheeling, got myself that rookie injury and took out my collarbone at Dirt Surfers last year. And that was with a neck brace on. So I've taken a lot of spills with it. I've taken a lot of spills without. And that one instance, I think, has kind of had me hesitant to put it back on. But at the end of the day, a fractured collarbone over a broken neck is, it's kind of a no-brainer there. So it'll probably be working its way back into the daily rotation.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is one of the fastest riders on the planet, Riley Johnson. Dude, thank you for joining us, man. We're so glad you could be here, buddy.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you again. It was really cool to, watch this back in the day, and, to be brought on like this was a really neat thing. So thank you very much.
You'll come back. You'll come join us again, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I would love to.
Awesome. All right, we'll have you soon then. Thank you, buddy. Everybody in the
thank you
social
both.
media
You guys have a
lounge.
good rest of your day.
You too, bud. Everybody in that social media lounge, make sure you give him a huge O for One Wheel. That was awesome. Once again, Riley Johnson. That was great. Mark, he's a cool dude, man.
I've never really gotten to connect with him. I've seen him around at a thing or two, but yeah, super good dude.
Well, we're going to keep it moving. Things are happening. So I talked to you about the ESPN Knuckle Huck. That was super fun to watch. Riley's flying around. Now, Mark, I told you I found a way to do this in my living room. So we have Lucc Austin, who is waiting for us. Now, we'll get to him. Lucc, I know you're here, buddy. You're coming on in about 3 minutes. But if you can see this, I hope you can see, because I want to watch you do this somehow in your front yard. But I found a way to do this in your living room. And folks, you can do this too. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but check this out.
Even got my
all right.
buddy over here.
This is a VR snowboard game that is called Carve Snowboarding. And I'm doing this in the Oculus Quest 3. This is your cabin that you start off in. None of this really matters. What I wanted to show you is I basically went on this train of how can I find a VR game that will let me do what I saw them doing in the Knuckle Hucks. There's got to be a snowboard game where I could hopefully do this. And that got me thinking, could there be a one-wheel game where I could one-wheel in VR? So I started hunting this stuff out. Dude, check this out. I'm only going to show a few seconds of this, but this is me giggling the fuck out of this. And I'm going to put this whole video out after this on my YouTube channel, Big Boy Toys. Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you. But just watch how much fun I'm having, literally yelling Knuckle Huck, trying to copy what I saw on ESPN in my living room.
Damn. No.
Oh, no, no. No!
Uh-oh.
Here it comes. Damn it, that was so smooth. Mark, I had it. All right, here you go.
Boom. Oh my god, that feels so good. That's like 360. One more.
Get out of the way.
Let's get the rotating speed.
All right, I'm about to start losing my shit. And then we'll get to Lucc Austin. When you get the flow state and you start hitting jump after jump, that's what happens. Here we go.
360. Ah! And a tail grab. Another tail grab. I'm dizzy. How do they do this in real life? Oh no. No.
No consequences.
One more. Oh! 540.
That's cool, man.
Oh! Oh! Oh, I'm moving! Oh! Boom! Here we go! Knuckle Huck!
Knuckle Huck!
Oh!
Dude!
Oh!
Oh! You feel like you're in the air forever, dude.
That is so fucking cool. Are you kidding me?
That's awesome.
So I wanted
What
to
is this
show all of
called?
you that is the Carve Snowboarding. If you want to check that out on anywhere VR, really. But boy, that was fun. All right, let's do this thing. I got to get to him. Is Lucc here? I need him in my life.
What's going on, guys?
Lucc.
There he is, Lucc Austin. What's up, homie? How now? Did you see that by chance?
Oh yeah, that looks sick.
Are you a snowboarder or no?
Yeah, I ride for sure. I grew up snowboarding, so yeah, I think it gave me a big, a lot of more practice, or I guess you say skills that would relate to the one wheeling.
Oh, dude, I went snowboarding after getting a one wheel, and I after like by lunch, I was like, dude, I'm fucking going home. What's the point of waiting in lines? I could just be one wheeling all day.
Right, they feel very similar. So I was big into mountain biking and snowboarding. So once I found the one wheel, I was like, oh, this is it. This is all I need to do now.
So, all right, before we get to the massive ramp in your front yard, you are the fastest racer on the planet. That is the word that I'm hearing, my friend.
I'm the fastest in the ORL circuit for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I went down during the underground race against Riley and the Fast Boys from Colorado, but I'm excited to get that rematch this next season. I'm definitely going for the Dirt Surfer Series as well, so it'd be sweet to be able to race him a few times.
Well, I'd love to get Mark in here in a minute. I want to just start by asking you the Jaden Daniels effect, if you will. Do you know who he is?
I don't.
Okay. I'm in DC. I know I'm a fanboy. All right. Sorry, friends. I watch football too. And our new quarterback, our rookie quarterback is the fucking man, Jaden Daniels. He's awesome. And he's a stone cold fucking killer. He never gets swayed. It could be 30 seconds left, 4th down, game on the line, biggest game of his life. Cool, calm, collected. And I feel like you have to be like that going so fast in a racing setting. So how do you keep your nerves in check going that fast with something on the line?
Most of the time when I'm out there, I'm battling the nerves, like you're saying, trying to keep them in check to make sure that I'm really just focusing on going as fast as I feel comfortable going. I don't want to push it any faster than I already practiced during practice or any faster than I feel like it's very possible to go. So as long as I know if I'm going to make it through the course clean, I'm going to have a good time.
Clean is good. Clean is fast, right?
Clean is fast. That's the key word for sure.
Now, let me ask you this. So there's a lot of people out there that haven't been racing and maybe they don't listen to those, finer points when it comes to watching like the Race for the Rail video. But, what is fast in racing? Tell me kind of the speed ranges. What are you hitting, and how's that different than like hitting a trail at like regular person speeds?
Sure. Yeah. When I'm normally trail riding or just trail riding with a group of people, we're probably hitting speeds averaging 12 to 15 miles an hour, maybe, if we're with a pretty fast group cruising through some good trails or, fast trails. But racing on a big platform or head-to-head racing where the course is normally larger, at Race to the Rail a couple of years ago, I hit a top speed of 33. Woo. So it was just like, it depends a lot on the course. If it's a big, wide open course, we're going as fast as we possibly can, and we feel pretty comfortable with it. But if it's a narrow, windy course, obviously you got to slow it down for those corners.
Yeah. The corners can be brutal. Have you ever speaking of corners, have you ever lost your board off the edge of something?
Oh man. Yeah, all the time. it's part of the practice, right?
Yeah.
But I think I haven't had too many that the board like really went down the hill. I've seen some videos, I've seen some videos that Nico posted where he lost his board like all the way down the mountain. Like he was down there for 30 minutes looking for this thing. I've had my buddy Eddie. He also lost his board one time at Dirt Surfers, like way down the mountain. Had to walk down through the mountain, exit out onto some side road, and then find his way back.
Oh no.
It was pretty awesome. Well,
that's a long way back, right? On that road. I know that road too.
What about maybe some advice as a younger rider or just any rider out there who wants to get going that fast? Somebody who wants to maybe start competing and become a racer. They're just a casual hobbyist, really want to get into, this is the year that I compete. What do I need to do to become like you, sir? How do I get into racing mode?
For me, what opened up the next level of speed and confidence was more gear, more protection. I was riding hard with my buddies all the time. We'd fall almost every ride. I'd end up with an injury or some sort of bruise, and then I wouldn't ride for a while. I'm like, well, this is really slowing down my practice, procedures I'm trying to implement for the race season. So went and started adding more gear. So between 2022 and 23, I really invested a lot of money into just protection. So, I'll show you. I got it all laid out here if you guys are interested.
Yeah, we'd love to. I was going to ask you what the most important one was if we had to rank them. Like, what's the most, other than the helmet, obviously?
This is all the gear I wear.
Wow. You wear every piece of that every ride? Or if you're going to race?
Yep. Almost every ride, honestly. My, go-to is my go-to saying is I have to make it to the next race. So I start off with like a soft layer underneath, a D30.
Wow.
And then I have a hard shell that kind of covers that with an extra layer of hips, D30 knee pads. On top of that, I have a hard chest protector, which has these shoulder protection built into it.
Oh, wow.
So that shoulder protection is like an add-on I got from a different piece of gear called the BRB, or no, the RXR Protect, I think is what it's called, the brand. That's the bumper kit. And then I wear the knee braces here, the X8, Mobius X8 knee braces. Those seem to hold up the best. And then I've got these Don Joy ankle braces here, which are legit.
What is
Super
that?
nice. Every one of those those are ankle braces. They actually slip under the insole of my shoe.
Dude,
so
how does that
become one
work?
with
Can you
my
show us
shoe.
with the shoe? How does that work? That is
Sure. Let me see
legit.
if I can get this set up real quick here.
Mark, have
Yeah,
you seen
probably
anything like that? I've never seen anything like that.
I have not seen hinged ankle braces like that.
Does-
This is really
So yeah, you
interesting.
pull your insole up, and tuck this under it,
What?
and then that becomes basically one with the shoe. And during the race season, my shoes and ankle braces always come off like this and stay as one piece. And then every time you get in, you just loosen up the strap, slip your foot in, straighten it up, and it turns any shoe basically into a boot. So if you try to roll your ankle, the sole of your shoe rolls with it.
Wow. So do you put
and you're not slapping the ball of your ankle.
right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's hard shell protection so that you're not slapping the ball of your ankle.
So do you put that suit on the right, the red and yellow suit, on top of all of that, or some?
Yep, that's just my jersey and some pants. So that kind of helps keep all the gear in place. Honestly, I tell people the jersey is part of my protection layer. Like if I
Sure.
didn't have a jersey, this thing, like all my gear would shift and move every time I
Sure.
hit the ground, and so it would lose some of the protection. And I've had that issue where I've been totally geared up, but I forgot to put a jersey on, or I didn't bring a jersey with me.
And
You
then
go
the pads
down,
catch
some of
instead
the
of sliding.
Yeah, exactly. The pads will catch instead of
Yeah.
sliding initially.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then:
Mhm.
how many sizes up do you have to order your jersey?
I was gonna. That's a great question. How does that all fit?
So yeah, this jerseys I normally get in a size large, which is just like one size up from my typical wear. But they're stretchy, so they stretch over all the gear pretty easily. So in reality, you probably go with a slightly smaller jersey, but the sleeves would end up real short.
Dude, that's crazy. That's.
Yeah.
I thought I had a lot, and I actually hung. Okay, so maybe you'll like this, Luke. I took a page out of Batman's book, and I was like, well,
Nice.
if Batman has like a cave where I had this vision of like Batman opening up his like closet and having all of his shit there. So I kind of built
Right.
that out of like my hall closet where I have like hooks for everything. I open up the door and it's all just and it makes me excited to put it on. So how do you store all that shit? Is it in a clump somewhere?
It's just jammed into a big red bag. I've got a motocross gear bag with me that's massive. It looks like a big hockey gear bag, and all of this gear fits into it pretty well with some room to spare, so I can put charger and tools and air compressor and some other extra accessories that I want to travel with.
All right, let's hit us up with some super chats in the social media lounge so that we can buy him a Batman layer to keep his shit in. Let's do that. Let's fund it. I want to fund that.
Sweet.
TTR funds it.
Heck yeah.
No,
I'm
can you
down.
show us the jump, dude? I want to see this thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's in
definitely.
your front
Check
yard?
This out. So yeah, this is in my front yard.
How are you
Let's
going to
see if I
land
can
this
get
with the
this flipped
snowboard
around.
with a one wheel on the snow? Because this is what I want to do with a knucklehuck.
So I'm just gapping it for right now. But yeah, that's it.
Crazy.
But I haven't actually hit it. I built the jump basically last weekend, and this whole week has been pretty warm. So I was waiting for the jump to kind of freeze thaw a few times so that that it harden up, because initially it was pretty soft snow. But yeah,
So
that's the
zoom
gap.
in and
That's
can
the
you
jump.
zoom in and show us that the ramp that you're coming from?
Yeah,
and
did you
the-
build
and the
that?
runway you've got?
I think I can. Let's try here.
Maybe not.
Oh, yeah,
look at
there we
that.
go.
So that's custom. You built that.
Yeah,
Yeah, how tall is that?
there we go. The side of it is a full 4x8 sheet. I think the top of it I narrowed down a little bit, so it's like 3 foot 8 inches tall.
How did you? I'm guessing you had to measure. What's the angle that allows for you to get maximum steepness without hitting the nose?
So yeah, I took a few guesses and trial and error. I had a piece of trim just set up on the board or on the side of the piece of plywood, and I was pushing my board up to it, and it's trying to match the maximum angle that the nose could achieve.
Oh, okay.
It's without rubbing. So that was like the maximum or the tightest radius I could get without the nose like slamming into the jump while I'm going over it.
Sick.
Yeah.
What is
Should
the
be
gap?
awesome.
What?
I'm
How
stoked for
long
it.
is the gap?
Oh, right now I'm not really sure. I just kind of tossed the jump out there yesterday. I actually got it moved from the backyard to the front yard. It was frozen to the ground still, so got it moved out here yesterday, and then just kind of placed it.
Okay.
Probably looks like 15 feet ish.
You're not fucking around. I know that.
Yeah,
20 foot.
Luke,
It's
why
pretty
don't
big.
you just leave your camera right there and go just pad up and hit that for us real quick.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Voice
I'll
of
definitely get some
Onewheel.
footage of it when I do it later.
Yes.
Please.
But yeah, I think I'm going to be hitting it later this evening because it's so nice out.
All right, you heard it here, friends. A Voice of Onewheel exclusive. It's happening today. Let's go.
Heck
Let's
yeah.
go. Congrats, dude. We're so happy for you.
Thanks, man.
Is there anything
Yeah, it's
that's
going to be fun.
what are you gonna do to psych yourself up before you go through that kind of a jump? Do you clear your head? Do you ramp up?
So yeah, I'll test my speed as I'm coming up to the ramp a few times, and instead of hitting the ramp, I'll just go past the ramp and go around the jump and landing, just so I can make sure my speed is on point as far as like and I've hit so many jumps throughout the years, I kind of know like how much speed it's going to need to carry me through the air to make that gap, just based on experience, I suppose. But yeah, so I check my speed quite a few times. I'll ride really fast past it, just make sure the run up's all good and I got my speed dialed in. And then the first time I'll probably jump it and then kick the board off and just slide down the landing
Okay.
to make
Yeah,
sure I'm
that's
feeling
fun.
good about it. And then after that, it's full send, man.
Sick. I
Heck
love
yeah.
that. Dude, I can't wait to see that footage. But how's your season starting off this year? What's your next event? And
Where can we find you, bro?
Which ones other than you mentioned dirt surfers already? What else are you trying to hit this year?
So yeah, definitely hitting Stokebird coming up as first event. Super stoked for that. I was unfortunate enough to miss that last year, so hopefully this year I'm gonna make it happen. We already got the Airbnb booked up, so we're gonna go.
What is
Stoked
it
for
about
that.
Stokebird that you like? And we'll get back to your schedule. I don't want to stop that train of thought, but what
Oh, you're
just
good,
maybe
go
hype
ahead.
Stokebird for a minute.
Yeah, Stokebird is just a huge, awesome gathering of a bunch of one wheel enthusiasts down in Miami, Florida. It's just really a big group ride. Everyone gets their own Airbnb. There's not like one specific location, but it's all like just a bunch of group rides that meet up with a bunch of individual enthusiasts throughout the week. It's super fun.
And then what? Keep going through your schedule. Like, what else are you excited to ride?
So yeah, after that, I believe the next race I'm going to hit is going to be Oak City Shred Fest.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. And then, yeah, I'm going to hit every one of the Dirt Surfers events. I'm going to hit Wheel Scorcher and Float Life Fest and hopefully race for the rail.
What is
Sick.
it that makes a festival unique? Like, what makes the best? I know, Mark, I'm keeping you out of this because you run one. Mark runs the Oak City Shred, but doesn't run it, but is a part of it, the Oak City Shred Fest. So, you know, with him being impartial as much as he can, like, how would you say, like, this really makes this festival, like, compare it to, like, maybe, like, you ever hear, like, Joe Rogan's Mothership in Austin, Texas, which is, like, this new comedy store that he built? Like, if you ever hear any of the comedians talk about it, they're like, dude, fucking tits, man. I mean, top notch, bro. Like, so, like, what makes it like that for a festival to riders?
So what, as far as like what makes that, or what's that draw towards a festival?
What
is
makes
you're
a
asking?
festival stand out? Every festival is going to have community, a DJ playing, maybe a band, a bunch of rides. But, like, is there something that makes, like, man, I can't wait for Float Life Fest every year because of just how many people are there and how well run it is, or just, like, something that makes
Right.
a festival better than maybe the other ones?
So yeah, I think personally, I went to every one of the ORL races last year. The festival vibes at some of the races wasn't really what I was aiming for last season, but I was still able to partake in quite a few of it and stay up late, hang out with a bunch of the racers and other riders and other, attendees that are there that aren't racing. And the festival vibes are just more of a community feeling. You feel more connected to the whole group. You feel more involved in the whole event. It's a lot different feeling than just like a full-on race, but it's more about the community and more about hanging out with all the people that are there, just having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Like, what do you
more
aim for,
people
Mark?
to
You know,
come
when you're
to an
making these
event.
festivals. I'm sorry. What are you aiming for? I didn't mean to jump in there. I had the mic muted.
Go for it. What did you say? I didn't.
I'm sorry too. That was a big jumble on my back. I'm going to punch myself in the post show. If you want to, we're going to do a podcast of how the show went that you can always all join soon. And that will be one thing that I'll be talking about, how I just fucked that up terribly. I'm very sorry. I was basically trying to just keep you going on like, yeah, what do you aim for when you're putting a festival on, like to really make it stand out?
Me?
Yeah.
So what we aim for, Oak City Shred Fest tries to be a festival for riders and non-riders alike. So we like to have incorporate the fun, the weird and wild for everyone. We want it to be spectacle. We want to have racers race in races they've never thought of before. At the same time, we have, one of the only spectator races, with our track, people can actually watch, these races go down around our track. And let's say we're racing where someone has to ride on somebody's shoulders and race around the whole track. We just come up with a lot of fun, weird and wild concepts, including, chair races that had, amazing ramps and big sins. So fun for all ages, fun for everyone, including non-one-wheel things like disc golf and stuff.
That's a big one, man. Having something to do for the family, so like maybe the kids don't want to be one-wheeling all day. I thought Asheville, North Carolina was a really good choice for Float Life Fest because of all of the things around. Stokebird, Miami, obviously got so much stuff happening in Miami. Shred Fest, you got a bunch too. So, man, we've got like 3 minutes left with you, Luke. I just want to really get into your head, dude. Like, what kind of tips, what kind of education can we get from you on how to go faster?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what else would I focus on.
Speed wobbles. Have you gotten speed wobbles, my guy?
What's that?
Have you gotten speed wobbles?
Yeah, a few times. I mean, like Riley was saying earlier on, it's kind of just like a muscle memory thing or a muscle strength thing, where after a while, I think you just develop the muscle strength and the confidence that if you do get speed wobbles, just push through a little bit or brake a little bit, depending on what the scenario is. And normally it works itself out without too much of an issue. But tire pressure will definitely have a big effect on it. I know if I'm riding low tire pressure, I'll have a lot worse speed wobbles.
Absolutely. And if you do get them, another thing too is take control of your wheel. So, a lot of people will say, like, if you're riding flat wheeled, that's basically worst possible scenario. Get on one edge so you're dictating what the wheel does instead of finding out what it's going to do to you.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I try to aim for when I'm trying to hit like a really top speed or going really fast down a nice smooth area, is I'll actually do a slight carve edge to edge just to keep my tire on kind of edge so I'm not have the chance to get those speed wobbles.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to. Did I cut
No,
you?
that was great.
No, that's it.
Question then, just to tie it back to Riley again. What has been your top speed on a wheel?
The top speed that I'm aware of, I don't really trust the Vest Tool T speed.
Here we go.
I'll end up with a ride that says I went 60 miles an hour. I'm like, no, that didn't happen. Like maybe some wheel free spin or something. Like, I'm not sure how it combats the speed of the tire if you're getting air. And when I'm riding, I'm getting air all the time. Mm-hmm. So I don't really assume that the speed on that app seems to be accurate. I feel like the One Wheel app seems to have a little bit better buffering or filtering for that kind of situation.
Give me a
speed. I feel like the speed is more accurate there.
Give me a high speed, again, Luke.
I'm not really chasing the really top speed all the time. I'm trying to go as fast as the trail will let me, which normally isn't as fast as you can go on a one wheel.
Have you hit 50?
No, never. I think the top speed I've ever hit was probably 35.
Okay.
I know the one wheel app's 33. And I went faster than that, I felt like, on the Vesk a few times, but
are you riding?
Like I said, I don't trust that.
Are you riding with footholds? Because you say you got air a whole bunch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely rocking the overlanders. They're the move.
Is that
give you the most type of binding feel, or most type of totally locked in feel that I feel like I can get with any type of foothold system. To be frank, I haven't tried the FSTs, but I've seen a few other people riding with them and seen some of the pitfalls of them, and it's hard to beat having these titanium overlanders. I've had them.
Do you feel like you couldn't ride without them? Do you feel like you couldn't ride without them? Sorry.
No, I could ride without them. It's just not nearly as enjoyable.
He's the man, ladies and gentlemen. Lucc Austin, bringing it every single time he really gets on the racetrack. Dude, we're going to be watching you this year.
Appreciate it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good year. A lot of people are out there hungry to push the sport. I see a lot of people messaging me saying they're coming for it. So it's exciting to see the competition building, and I want more people to be racing. So the more competition out there, the faster the sport grows, the faster we go, and faster we push this.
Hell yeah, Lucc. I want to see you take the rail this year.
Yeah, we all do, man.
Yeah,
you get to the top, they come for your shit.
You're right. Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, buddy. Give him a warm round of applause in the social media lounge. And for one-wheeling, he is Lucc Austin, everybody. Thanks for joining us, dude. That was super fun.
It was awesome.
We'll have him on again, friends. We got a lot of stuff to do. My God, things are happening. And we're so glad that our guests will join us for their time, because I know it's not easy to sit down with us for, 15, 20 minutes at a time. Thank you to Lucc, man. You guys go ahead and support him. Support Riley. They support the show. We support them. We're so glad they could join us. That was fucking awesome. Those are the kinds of dudes that will knuckle huck in real life. I'm just out here doing it in fucking VR. But I have one more thing for you in that realm. And it is because I went down that rabbit hole of trying to find VR knuckle hucking, I found possibly a VR one-wheel game. And we will do that in just a moment. Mark, what is going on? We've got deep thoughts here. What's happening in the social media lounge? Give us a little check-in there. I know that we're serving smash burgers today, so they're very grateful. I've heard that they're a little undercooked, so maybe you might want to say something to the chef.
Undercooked. I mean, that's personal preference.
How do you get your burger?
I mean, a burger, I'm usually a medium on a burger.
Okay.
Less than that doesn't really hold up that well. I mean, if you can get a smash burger like medium, then that's pretty dope. It's kind of hard on, it's something you have to do a cold patty, hard crust, hot grill. No. Okay, let's talk about one wheel stuff. So One Woman One Wheel mentioned that Lemonade Float Fest has good vibes and a bunch of trails. I haven't checked out that video. I know a couple of my friends went there last year and had a really awesome time. So shout out to that event. Let's see. I had another thought too.
Well, while you grab that,
I've got a question for people.
Sure.
For the extended viewing audience, but why haven't you gone to a one wheel event before? That's what I want to know. For the people that haven't gone to an event, what's holding you back?
Well, I can tell you what's holding me back, and it's my biggest pet peeve, my biggest drawback. If I'm hosting this show, you got to be out there. You're the kind of guy that's not as much on social media as you are in real life. I respect that out of you. I would love to go to these events, and you're going to yell at me the same way that these irrational people in the chat are going to yell at me, and that's fine. I respect you too. I'm a wedding DJ. I book my Saturdays a year out. So I'm already booked for I've had September and October booked for 6 months of this year. I don't know when these festivals, what weekends they're going to fall. And I charge at least $2,000 for a wedding. On these weekends, I do 3 weddings. So you're asking me to just shut down a weekend for $6,000 and then go spend whatever the fuck I'm going to spend on a trip. Dude, it's a $10,000 weekend. I can't do it. And by the way, I don't even know if that's the date. I'm trying to book this 18 months out. So this is not me yelling at you guys, even though it sounds like it's me, because I gotten some shit for this before. And I want to be there. I will find a way to get to some events this year. I promise you. But this is my livelihood. I don't do anything else. If I don't do these events, I don't eat. I don't have an apartment. So I got to pay the bills. But it sounds like a fucking blast, dude. I got to get there.
They're awesome. And, every one of these events, and there's still new ones popping up. Everyone just gets better every year. The community gets better. There's a certain amount of people that you'll see at a lot of the events, but then you get to meet a lot of people from the different regions of the country and a lot of people that you've seen online. And guess what? Everybody's just regular people, and you can be friends with them and keep up with them. And beyond that, there's just there's this awesome thing that happens where people come with, they're the only person that rides in their town. They're the only person they've ever seen on a one wheel in real life. And they come and they throw themselves into this event and they make a whole bunch of friends. everybody's really welcoming. You know, it's not super clicky. It's not a, you know, we're cooler than you. It's not a sport where people make you feel bad if you're not good. You know, we want people to come out and race. We want people to come out and ride trick. And we want slope style. You know, we want also new beginners to try all that stuff too.
Were you on Heckle Hill?
Heckle Hill was before me. I've heard tales.
Okay, very good. All right, so we will get to a race. I promise you I will be at one this year, if not 2 or 3. But because I'm not able to go out and do some of these IRL, I end up trying to find some of these things in VR. So, like I said, I found a game that made me realize, hey, I'm being serious. Game devs, wake the fuck up. Okay, it's time. I need a Onewheel VR game because if what I'm about to show you exists, Daddy needs his cooking. Let's go. This exists, friends. Sickway VR. This is a Segway video game that exists basically on the physics of an EUC. It's like you're riding a Onewheel. I'm sorry, a Segway. So all you have to do is lean and go. And if this exists, get me this on a Onewheel. Get me down trails, man. Get me a tricks competition. We could be doing it against each other. And they have all these other fun little mini games that they do in this. But this game looks fucking sick. Sickway.
That scaffolding shot, that is making me feel something.
No. That's crazy. How crazy is that? So if that exists, Sickway VR, I need that shit in my real life. Deal? Game devs out there, get on it. All right, let's get one more deep thought in here before we get the people out of here, because I've got deep thoughts with Gryz. We haven't gotten to that yet. And then next week, we will hang out with you a little bit of a slower pace next week. We wanted to get more topics in, and we'll have one guest instead of 2. And then we'll go right back into everything that you've become accustomed to right here on the show. We just like to change it up a little bit just to kind of keep it fresh. But with that being said, give me some deep thoughts, Gryz.
Am I still here?
You are.
Okay.
Oh, now you're gone. What happened to you? Oh, there you go. You're back. Right when your every time your big moment comes up, you go out. What happens?
No, I'm in your phone. My power went out. My power flicked out, and somehow some of this is still working.
Well, keep going. You're on the air. Let's go.
Okay.
Give me a deep thought.
Okay. I will give you a deep thought right now.
He's losing his mind. There's so much happening.
Off. I have no idea how my Wi-Fi router is changing over right now. I don't know how
folks, you have no idea how much work we put into this, trying to get a live stream to go so fucking smooth. And man, I'm so proud of what we did today, and I'm as proud of where things are going. But it's so funny that every time we go to your segment, something fucking blows up.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's because I'm a squirrely brained
I love you,
human.
buddy.
Yeah, dude,
give me a deep
it's
thought.
All good. Let me see this. So here's my deep thought is you know, one of the first things that ever took me out was one of those potholes where they have just like asphalted, you know, right over some like water meter cover that they weren't supposed to. And for the longest time, one of my thoughts while riding was just scanning as hard as I could for something like that. And, you know, it's so much worse in like noontime sunlight when it's just, you're going through the trees and the contrast is so high that no sunglasses or non-sunglasses is going to help you.
Oh, flat lighting is the worst.
So, right. So that's when it became like, I had to force myself to just bend my knees when conditions get so sketchy that you've just got to be bending your knees and ready to either, you know, let any bobble wobble bump happen and soak it up, or you got to just be ready to run it out.
That is this week's idea from your boy, Mark Gryz. Dude, we did it. We made it work.
No idea how, but it did.
Thank you all for joining us. We will be back once again next week, Thursday at noon. If you want to, feel free to hit us up on Facebook or on Instagram at Voice of Onewheel. We love hearing from you. We couldn't do the show without you, so we'll see you again next week. For everybody here at TTR Studios, from my boy Mark Rizib from Oak City Onewheel, I am your host, Lucc Dog, from TTR Studios. See you, friends. Have a great day. Go get your shred on.